Yes, students, we have discussed laws of motion with you in the previous classes. This is in continuation with that. We have to discuss with you about the friction, or I can say the frictional force. Friction is a type of force with you. So, of course, to revise, you should be knowing, because in 11th, basically, we are concerned with mechanics. And how many type of forces we are using in mechanics, you should be having a clarity in your mind, which is very much given in your first chapter of your book, which is physical world. Of course, as no direct question from that chapter will be there, but you should be knowing in whatever topic is related, you should be knowing about that in detail. Like gravitational force, of course, g small g is the acceleration due to gravity we are using all the times, and that is the mutual attraction between the two objects because of their masses. So every two objects are attracting each other with a force, that is the gravitational force. It is always attractive in nature. Of course, we will be talking about the electrostatic force, which can be attractive or repulsive in 12th class in detail. So basically here we are focused on the various forces we are using in mechanics. So we can have the contact forces with us. Now contact forces, they are arising because of the contact of the two bodies. It can be with the solid or with the liquid. When two bodies, of course, they are exerting the forces on each other, like we have discussed, that always they occur in pairs. So no single force can exist. So to every action there is equal and opposite reaction, and it means all the contact forces, they follow Newton's third law. That should be very clear in your mind. And when we will be resolving, like we have done with the walking of man, when we resolve the reaction force, we get the two components. One is perpendicular, which is balancing the weight of the body. That perpendicular or the normal to the surface is termed as the normal reaction. And the component of the contact force which will come here, which will oppose your walking or moving on that road, that will be, of course, the horizontal component, which is parallel to the surfaces in contact. When two bodies, they are solid, it means solid to solid if I talk, then this component is termed as the friction or the frictional force. So it is simply an opposing force. Of course, we have to deal about the friction in detail in this very lecture only. But you should be aware of that if I immerse a solid into the liquid, then upward buoyant force is coming into play. And we talk about the viscous force. These viscous force also we will be dealing in the, when we will talking about the matter and liquids, we will be talking about the viscosity in detail. So that is also an opposing force, that you should just keep it in your mind, and we will be discussing in the coming lectures. So today our basic lesson is on friction. You should be knowing this thing, that these different contact forces, basically they are having the electrical origin. It means we talk about the molecular forces. Molecular forces are there between the different molecules when they are coming in contact. Now, like you people have seen, you are able to write with your pen on the paper. Because of the adhesive force, you are able to join two papers. That adhesive is used, glue is used. When we talk about the forces between the two bodies, they can be cohesive, they can be adhesive. You should be able to write yourself cohesive forces. These are the forces of attraction between two similar type of atoms. Like water, when you pour from one glass to another, then what is happening? Water molecules, they are joined with a force, that is cohesive force. Similar type of atoms. When you are able to paste one type of sheet of paper on the another type with the help of glue, that is, your glue is an adhesive. That is, adhesive force is the force between two different type of molecules. So that should be kept in mind. We will be using these terms in the coming lectures as well. Cohesive and adhesive forces. Then you have to define the friction. Then of course, if I'm having one body, solid body, it can be a wooden block. You are moving it on the disc or the wooden table. If you are pushing the force or you are applying the force in this direction, then the motion is also in this direction, and the force which is coming in play to oppose the motion of the body, that force is termed as the frictional force. So whenever you have to define the frictional force, you can say that when a body moves or tends to move over the another surface in contact, then this opposing force is termed as the frictional force. This always acts parallel to the surfaces of contact, and it opposes the relative motion. That should be known to you, that it always acts at the point of contact, at the surfaces of contact, and opposes the relative motion. So the body may move, or it may tend to move. It means I'm moving the body like this. So I'm moving it, but the frictional force is coming in the opposite direction. That should be clear to you. So it's a type of force only. And this is if I want to write in the component form. If this is your action, this is the reaction force. When you resolve the reaction force, then the perpendicular component N, it is termed as the normal force, and this component is your frictional force. So what it is, that if a body is moving in this direction, then frictional force has to come in this direction. Or if you may want to make the body move in this direction, then frictional force will come in the opposite direction to that. So generally when we draw a body, so we take it from the center of the body, because we assume the whole mass of the body or whole weight of the body is acting at its center. So all these forces are always marked from the center of the body. So you should be knowing that frictional force is your coming opposite to the motion of the body. Very important with you can be asked, what is the cause of friction? What is causing the friction? So if two bodies, they are in contact, then we can say irregularities or roughness or deformations, they are causing the friction, or you can say the molecular adhesion. As I have already explained, adhesive force, they are acting between two different type of materials. So when two bodies, they are in contact, then the molecular adhesive forces are there, and when you are applying the force, you have to work against these adhesive forces. You have to break these adhesive bonds, and that the force which is required, that is simply adhesive force, you can say, is causing the friction. So that should be clear in your mind. That is the latest view with you. Of course, initially we said that roughness or irregularities, but the latest view is that the adhesive forces which are in between the two surfaces, they are causing the friction. Because it was seen that if we are even we are putting the wooden block over the another wooden block, if you look on those surfaces, you can't see any irregularities. So where are the irregularities which is causing the friction? So that is, you can say, is because of the adhesive forces, because these are the molecular forces. So we have to work against these adhesive bonds to make the body move. So for that, you have to means minimum force, some minimum force is to be given, and that static frictional force. So broadly, if I want to divide the friction into categories, I can have three categories of friction with me. One is static friction. It means when the body, I'm here, I'm trying to move my hand over the surface, but my hand is not moving, but I'm trying. So that, it means opposing force is coming into play, but you are not, your force and the opposing force, they are equal in magnitude, I can say. So the frictional force starts acting as soon as I start make a body move over the another body. So if I'm trying to make the body move, then frictional force which is coming into play is the static friction. Now when I keep increasing my force, I'm trying to make this body move, and I reach the maximum value. My hand is just about to move over this surface, then the maximum value of the static friction is termed as limiting friction. It means if you want to write static friction, you can write that the frictional force which comes into play when a body tries to move over the another surface. And the limiting friction, you can write it is the maximum value of the static friction. Or you can say it is a frictional force which comes into play when body is at the verge of its motion. It means it is just about to start its motion. You can say at the verge of its motion. It means the body is at the verge of its motion, then the frictional force which comes into play is the limiting friction. And kinetic friction is when the body is in motion. It means body has started moving over the another surface, but still the opposing forces are always there because of the adhesive forces. So you can see that static friction, it always keeps on varying. Like you must have seen on this point, you may get any conceptual questions also, that why it is always difficult to start cycling. In the beginning, when you start pedaling, you have to apply more force because you are breaking those bonds, adhesive bonds, I can say, and that is why as you increase the force, the static friction increases. But then you reach at the maximum value of the static friction, and then you start moving. And when you start moving, then the kinetic friction comes into play. And the question can be that kinetic friction is found to be less than the limiting friction. Why? I'm repeating the question for you. Kinetic friction is found to be less than the limiting friction. Why? Because it is easy to maintain the motion than to start the motion, because in the beginning you have to break the bones, but that much force is not required to continue the motion, and that is the reason why kinetic friction is found to be less than the limiting friction. So this reason should be known to you. Of course, can be asked. I talk about the kinetic friction, it means I am now making the body to move over the another surface. Then I can make the body to slide, or I can make the body to roll. So depending upon that, I can have the sliding friction, I can have the rolling friction. This diagram is very important for you because the same arrangement we use in the lab also to find the coefficient of limiting friction. That also we will discuss what do we mean by coefficient of limiting friction. But you should be knowing here, when this wooden block is kept over the wooden table, this is in pulley arrangement with you. A thread is passing from this pulley, which is one end is attached to the wooden block, another is attached to the pan in which I can put the weight. So when I increase the weight, I am increasing the force or the tension force in this thread, and I can make this wooden block to move over the wooden table. So that can be seen here in the diagram, and if I put some rollers just below it, then the frictional will be termed as the rolling friction. Rolling friction is found to be less than the sliding friction, and this is by its knowledge we have invented wheel, and all these terms has come into play. So the friction, it means, is a very important topic as far as applications are concerned. So you should be having all the applications in your mind so that you are able to answer the conceptual questions as well. To go in detail, to begin with, we are talking about the static friction. Like as I have said, I am having a block is kept over the wooden table. I am applying the force in this direction. Initially, I am not applying any force, then the body is at rest because the weight is being balanced by the normal reaction, by third law. Now, if you apply the force, this way, then the frictional force is coming to play opposite to this. So it means when you are not applying any force, then no frictional force is there. But this static frictional force comes into play as soon as you start applying the force. It means you want this body to, it tends to move, tries to move this body. You are trying to move this body, and as soon as this body tries to move, then only the frictional force comes into play, but body has not moved at all, and that is why this force, frictional force, is termed as static frictional force, and it is written as Fs. So when applied force is 0, static frictional force is 0. But when it is not 0, applied force is not 0, then static frictional force will also not be 0. And you can increase this value of the applied force. Static friction will also keep on increasing depending upon this mass of this block. So if you are having a heavy trunk with you and putting it on the table, then it means static friction will be more as compared to if you are putting simply this wooden ball or a book on the wooden table. So you can understand who I mean by the static friction and how the static friction it keeps on varying. So we can increase the limit depending upon the weight of the body. So because I am applying the force but the body is at rest, and that is why this frictional force we are calling it as the static friction. And now you are increasing the force up to the maximum limit of the static friction. Then we come up to the limiting value. Body is just about to start its motion. It means static friction is opposing the impending motion. It means it is not making the body to move. But as soon as the body is at the verge of motion, then the same frictional force we will be calling it as the limiting friction, and it means it is simply the maximum value of the static frictional force. That should be clear to you in your mind. And maximum frictional force you are talking, and when you have moved beyond that limit, then the body starts moving, and at that time the frictional force which comes into play, that is termed as kinetic friction. So all three terms are very important with you, and if this is very important graph, if you are asked to plot the graph showing the variation of the applied force with the frictional force, then you should be able to represent this with the help of graph. Like when applied force is 0, then the frictional force is also equals to 0. Now you are increasing the applied force, frictional force is increasing, and this frictional force is termed as the static friction. So this is also one very important question with you, which is asked most of the times, that static friction is a self-adjusting force, because static friction is changing its value with the change in the applied force. So it is going to get adjusted, of course, depending upon the mass of the body. If you are taking a heavy body, you are putting it on the table, then static frictional force will be more as compared to a light body. So that also you should be kept in your mind. And this is the maximum value of the static friction, which is known as limiting friction. So this, at where I have kept the pointer at this minute, this is giving me the limiting value of the frictional force. And when the body has started motion, then you can see the kinetic friction, it is found to be less than the limiting friction. So that reason I have already explained, because it is easy to continue the motion than to start the motion, because in the beginning you have to overcome all the adhesive forces, bonds, and the irregularities, whatever name you give for the cause of the friction. So you have to overcome all those causes, and once you have overcome those causes, then it is easy to continue the motion, because we are not giving that much time for formation of the bonds again. It means bonds are not being formed again and again, because we are in motion. So we are not giving that much time for the formation of the bonds again. So that is the reason why kinetic friction is found to be less than the limiting friction. Limiting friction is simply maximum value of the static friction. So this graph is very important and you should be able to explain this graph. Of course, direct question for plotting the graph can be asked, or the related questions can be created as well, in which we can use all these terms. So you should be aware of all these terms. Now these are the laws of the limiting friction, or I can say laws of the static friction, because limiting friction is simply the maximum value of the static friction. So, but when we do the experiment in the lab, this arrangement we make, we put a wooden block on the plank, which is a wooden again, with an arrangement of pulley should be there. And what happens, you have to keep on increasing the weight in the pan till the block starts its motion. So it means experimentally we find the limiting friction. So limiting friction is very important for the your lab point of view, otherwise of course in theory, because limiting friction or this is the maximum value of the static friction. So you should not get confused with the things. If in the exam they are asking you laws of static friction, that also will remain the same. So of course, first of all, as I've said, that it will depend upon the body, what type of body you are taking, what are the surfaces in contact, and how much is the polishing, means what is the nature of the polish. So this is the first law of friction with me, that the limiting friction or the static friction, you may say, depending upon what the question is being asked from you, it depends upon the nature of surfaces in contact. And of course, it is acting in a direction opposite to the motion of the body and acts tangential to the surfaces in contact. As I have already explained, that it acts in a tangential direction to the surfaces in contact. And you should be knowing that it acts in a direction opposite to the motion of the body. So this is the second law with you. Third law is very important, that this frictional force, your static frictional force maximum value, which can be written as simply FL also. So whatever denoting sign you want, you may use. You may simply write FL is the maximum value of the limiting friction. It is independent of the area of contact. It means if I put this body like this or I put it like this, whatever way, so it is not depending upon the surface, but it depends upon the normal reaction. That is the fourth law, which is again very important, that it varies with the normal reaction. And you know, normal reaction is equal and opposite to the weight of the body. So it means if the weight of the body is more, then normal reaction is more. If the body is heavy, it means then normal reaction has to be more. And if the body is light in weight, then normal reaction will be less. So this law, your fourth law, is very important, that the frictional force is directly proportional to the normal reaction. And if you remove this proportionality sign, I get a constant which can be written as mu s or mu l, you may write. For limiting, you may write mu l. For static, you may write mu s. So whatever is being asked, accordingly you can write. This is constant of proportionality. This constant of proportionality is termed as coefficient of static friction or coefficient of limiting friction, depending upon what is being asked from you in the question. So you should be able to write mu s, and when we do it experimentally in the graph, we plot. Then if you do the graph plotting between the this applied force and the frictional force here, for this Fs, then I get a straight line. And if you take the slope of this graph, then you can find the value of mu mu will be equals to yours, mu s here will be equals to Fs upon your this force, applied force. If you increase the value, then you can here, if you want to get, you are getting it by the normal reaction. But you can see that if this value is here, you are applying the force. This force is your, this is the, you should be able to mark, this is the mg for the pen, and here the tension will be in this way. So the direction of tension will be reversed by direction of the tension force. You know, you should be knowing the purpose of the pulleys in the various experiments. That should be known to you, and you should be able to find when you increase this applied force in this pan, when you increase the weight, then basically you are increasing the tension here. This tension works like as an applied force, and this is applied force, this is frictional force. When you increase the applied force by increasing the weights in the pan, then you are increasing the frictional force, static friction, because we are about to reach the maximum value of the limiting friction. So you have to do the graph plotting up to this only, and this applied force will depend upon the normal reaction. So this normal reaction is more, then it means you need to apply more force. So this by using this formula, by finding the slope of the graph, I can find the value of the coefficient of the limiting friction or coefficient of the maximum static friction. Maximum static friction is simply the limiting friction. So that should be clear to you, that here I may write it as mu L also. Mu L is the value for the limiting friction. That is the symbol for the coefficient of limiting friction. So this all should be known to you, that mu L we can write, or mu S also we can write, because we know we are talking about the maximum value. Here when we take the readings, we take the reading by increasing the normal reaction. Initially we will take simply with the block, then we will put some extra weight over it. So we are increasing the normal reaction. When we are increasing the normal reaction, then frictional force also increases. So that is the experiment. So we are increasing the normal reaction, we need to increase the applied force, which is depending upon the normal reaction itself. So by taking the different observations, we will be doing the graph plotting, and from the slope of the graph, you can always find the coefficient of limiting friction. This is the experiment with you. Keep things up to this. Thank you everyone.